Hi guys, my name is Jessica Fortunes. I'm currently a student of media and communication as well as a podcaster. Please check out my podcast called 20 Somethings Rants. Okay? All right. So in today's video, I want to talk about the new movie on Prime, Sista. I saw it yesterday night and I shed a few tears. And I'm like, today I have to talk about it, even though I have a class in the next 1 hour. I'm like, no, before going to class, I just had to talk about this. I just had have to put this out here because it was that good. Right? So if you haven't seen the movie, there's gonna be spoilers here. So I'd say probably pause this and go and watch it, then come back and let's talk about it. Because again, there's gonna be spoilers, so don't blame me. Don't blame me. All right. So very quickly, let's talk about what the movie is about. Yeah, a young lady and a young boy, both of them 17, the lady 17, and the man or the guy 19. Now, when children do things they're not supposed to do, one way or another, she gets pregnant. And in a very typical African setting, the parents are like, you know what? You're going to bear the consequences. You're going to have to take care of yourselves. You're going to have to leave our homes. You're just basically going to have to do this on your own. And in that same light, they went ahead to do it on their own. The guy was a student of Unilag, so the lady goes ahead to stay with him in school as well as fend for them. She does some menial taxes while he goes to school. But even after having the first child, they did not wait. A few years down the line, I think 1 or 2 years after, they go ahead and she gets pregnant again for a second child while he's still in school, while she's still doing menial jobs. It just makes me understand, like, sometimes I complain that why do people who don't have a lot keep having children? So it's like, what were you guys thinking? I don't know how to ask them that question right now. But that's not the whole story, right? So still doing the menial jobs. The lady's like, oh, don't worry, we can do it. Just tell me that everything's gonna be fine. The guy is stressed out because he has to deal with school. They already have their first child. This is the second child, and he's wondering why is that anytime I just touch you small, you just get pregnant. And I'm like, really? Anyways, when it was time for them to have their second child, the man could no longer deal with the pressure. And what did he do? While he was going for his NYC service, he drops a letter and he disappears. Yes, guys, even before the second child was born, he disappears. And so she has to fend for herself alone for 21 years. That's such a long time. But the story doesn't end there. 21 years after hustling and struggling to train her children by cleaning, selling things, doing all sort of menial jobs, the man eventually shows up. Now, I mean the man that is the husband who ran away, he comes back after 21 years. At this point, the children are grown. The firstborn is a student in Unilag. The secondborn is about to go to school as well. That's the university. So basically, she's done a good job of training her children. They are well rounded individuals. They are thoughtful. They are intelligent. They're doing well for themselves, even though she's having to work a whole lot, right? So everything is good. In my opinion, everything was good for them at this point. It was like they were average, they weren't the worst, but it tells you that she had done a lot of work to get them to where they are. And then the man suddenly shows up. And as you would expect, she's angry. She told the children that their father was dead and she wanted to keep it up. But very typical of a man who had run away, he comes back and is like, oh, I'm sorry. I want to be in your lives now. My anger though. I'm so angry on her behalf. Like what? Can you just disappear and disappear for life? Because the truth is, in my opinion, those children were gonna do great. Yeah, it was gonna take her a few more years to work hard and all of that, but I felt like they were gonna do great. And if you've been gone for 21 years already, you might as well stay gone forever, innit? But anyways, he comes back and there's a lot of pain and a lot of anger. And so eventually she says sorry after a whole lot of fighting and shouting, and then the family comes back together. Meanwhile, this man was living lavish. He had his kids abroad, he had remarried, he was just doing really good for himself. And so he comes back with a lot of money and everything sorts itself out. So that is the story in general. Why did he have me in tears? It had me in tears because it was telling a very beautiful story for many of us who probably were raised by single mothers. The feeling of loneliness, seeing your mother struggle and work extra hard, the feeling of not having the dad figure there, the feeling of, the feeling of why is this just so hard? The feeling of, oh my God, I have to make my mother very proud. The night where you see your mother tear up and you realize that, oh my God, I probably was the cause of this, because if I wasn't born, if she wasn't pregnant, she probably would have done other stuff with her life, all of that feeling. I could relate to it on some level, right? And it was just, I didn't realize how deep it would make me feel, how angry. Like I got angry. I was very angry. I was angry at the man. I was angry at the children for accepting him, because in my head, I don't think that it's very easy to forgive those years of loneliness and those years of struggle, right? So that was why it was very emotional for me. And I think that's why a lot of people on Twitter are talking about it, because on some level, we can all relate to some level of absent fathers, right? For some, it's probably death. For some, it's because of work. For some, it's because of just the person being a deadbeat father. For some, it's voluntary. For some, it's not voluntary. They can't help you. But either ways, I feel like a lot of us can relate to that, or I know that I can relate to it on some level. So it just made me very sad in some sense of it. And so I would say that to those of you who probably had your mom, your dad there, tell me, what does it feel like to be God's favorite children? Because some of us cannot relate to that, but it's okay. It's okay. We're grateful to God. Yeah. So I think that that story just touched a nerve for many of us, and it was just very simple. When you're telling the story like that, you don't need a lot of bamboozling. You don't need a lot of cinematography. It was just a very simple story that we could all relate to, and I'm so happy that Biodun, right? That's the name of I think the producer and the director as well. Yeah, I think she wrote the movie as well. She made it very simple, and I love the fact that she did that, because it did not take away from the strength of the story, from what the story was about. She left it as simple as possible, and it was really, really great. It was a 1 hour, I think about 20 or 30 minutes long movie, and it was good. Very simple. The cinematography was also very good. Now let's talk about the characters. Now, Sista herself was played by Kehinde Bankole, and I've known Kehinde Bankole since the days of Super Story. I can't exactly remember which one of them she played, but I remember her from back then, and I would say that she has always been a phenomenal actress. I think that she has the passion. She probably knows the struggle, because she played the role exceptionally well. Like she was that good. She was very good. She she bodied the movie. She bodied the role. She bodied the character, like the pain. When she would do things like, she would say a word that probably is wrong and her children will have to correct her. I could relate to that, because myself and my sister, we still do the same with my mom sometimes. Where it's like, she says something and like, what's that? What are you saying? I know we smile about it. And when she says things like, oh, you guys are going to make me proud, you're going to be amazing, the way she would pray for us when we were about to leave the house, she would say things like, you're going to wipe my tears and all of that. See, I could basically see my mom and some of the things that she does in Kehinde. So I'm so grateful to Kehinde for for bodying that role so beautifully. However, it's like I don't see her a lot in movies. So I'm like, please, can you come back to our screens a bit more? I don't know why, but please come back to our screens a bit more, because it was beautiful to be reminded of what an amazing actress she really is. Every other person on the character was good, from Bisola, who was acting the wife of the husband, the second wife or his first wife after he had run away, to Deyemi. Deyemi came through as well. I mean, I was angry with his character, because how can you be so heartless? And then you came back and you're thinking money is going to solve everything, because now he's rich. He was trying to just use money to bamboozle the children. And I'm like, no, money does not pay for all the years of heartache and pain and loneliness. It does not pay it. It does not. So yeah, I was angry with his character, but he also did well. Demi is a great actor. I think that every one of them were great actresses and actors, from Bisola to Kehinde to Demi. I think the new people on the scenes were probably the kids. I haven't seen them before, but they did well. However, I was angry with them because how can you be so forgiving? How can you be so forgiving? I know it's a movie, because in real life, I don't think it's that easy to forgive and forget. People say forgive and forget, but it's not easy to forgive and forget somebody who probably wasn't there when you needed them the most. I think that in your formative years are where you need your parents together. So when they're not together and you have to go through that, it's harder to forgive. So I'm like, how did you guys forgive so easily, huh? But anyways, I think they did well. Oh, also, I think Ade herself, she played the role of Sister when she was way younger, and I think that she did a beautiful job as well of playing the role of a girl who was uncertain, not sure of what to do, was scared. I think she did well, as well as the young man who played Deyemi, or who played the husband in at the age of 19. I think I've seen him in a couple of other movies, and he's doing really well for himself. So it was really good. Altogether, it was a beautiful movie, very simple, very straight to the point, very emotional, very, it did what it was supposed to do, which is, I think that, I feel like every parent should watch this. Every man who probably has left a family should definitely watch this, because it just tells you, it shows you the stress and the struggle. So yeah, I think it did what it was supposed to do, and I loved watching it. And a big thumbs up to Prime. I love that there are lots of Nigerian movies on Prime. I don't know if it's deliberate, I don't know if it's their strategy, but it is really beautiful. After watching Gang of Lagos and now Sister, I am now subscribed. Yes, I've subscribed to Prime. I think I'm about to port. Like they say, jackpot to Prime. This is not sponsored, but sincerely, they have a lot of good Nigerian movies. I'm going to be watching more and also telling you about them. But yeah, this was a great movie. So this was a great movie. So well done, and thank you to everyone who was involved in the production of this.